Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is my monthly haul. As always, if you follow the channel, you know every month I do a haul of everything I picked up on Blu-ray, 4K and sometimes DVD. So yeah, this is March 2025. So I'm going to kick the video off with a sort of a big thank you to my pal Tim Cole, who's recently changed his channel name, so I'll stick it in the description if you're not familiar. Yeah, he sent me a surprise in the post, and it is a pop vinyl of Gizmo. So yeah, thanks very much Tim, that was really appreciated, didn't expect that. I just got a random message off him one day when I was at work saying there should be a surprise when you get back, waiting on your doorstep. So yeah, had no idea what was coming, but thank you very much for that. Yeah, so really good. I think I might take this one out of the box actually, like a small figure. I don't know if that sort of goes against everything that pop vinyls are, but I feel like I want to take him out and just put him on the shelf. So yes, thank you very much Tim. Go check out Tim's channel. I'm sure you all know Tim anyway, but great guy, great friend, and yeah, thank you once again Tim. So the next sort of port of call, I guess, is everything I picked up. I've had a good month this month, good in terms of not gone crazy. So I think I said on my last monthly video, you know, I went a bit mad and I had like these 2 crates in front of me here full almost of movies. This one I've got, not even one is full, which is really good for me. So, you know, mission accomplished. I tried to make it smaller, sort of more controlled input this week. Sorry, this month. But yeah, without that, let's kick off what I picked up. So I was doing really well, and I hadn't got very many titles at all, which I was really proud of for this month. And then I found a couple of eBay bargains right at the end of the month. So yeah, I did pull the trigger on those, which bumped my numbers up almost. Not quite doubled, but almost doubled what I picked up. So I'll go through those first, just because I've mentioned those, I suppose. So yeah, these were, you know, buy it now on eBay. Someone was just doing a job lot, and I thought, yeah, let's pull the trigger, because I've got some of these movies already. But to be fair, the price the guy was asking for was well worth it for just one title in the bundle. So I thought I'll pick up the other ones as well, because they come included. And I'll chop out the old ones that I've got, because these look like in mint condition. All got slip covers on as well. So yeah, basically this was £13, buy it now. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to go for that. That's an absolute steal. So the first one in there is the box set with Mission Impossible movies. So that's got 1 through 5 in it. So all the way up to Rogue Nation. So I do have a similar box set. But mine doesn't include Rogue Nation. I've got that separately, so it's a bit of space saver. I'm going to keep this one and probably chip off my old one. So yeah, some Mission Impossible movies. So that was in the bundle. The next one in the bundle with a slip as well, which is again in mint condition, is the Fallout one, to follow on from those. So again, I've got this one, but without a slip, and it's a bit rough. It was like a charity shop pickup, I think, so or a CEX pickup. So this one looks like it's come brand new from the store. Really mint. You can see the shine on that. Yeah. So yeah, I'll keep those as a little sort of mini upgrade. And then the sort of meat of the order, I suppose, that I really was going for was the 4K edition double pack of the Top Gun movies. So yeah, this guy was selling, again, really nice mint slip on there. Both Top Gun movies in there, sort of the original 80s one, and then obviously Maverick. Have them both on Blu-ray, but I have got the sort of bare bones Blu-rays for both. So yeah, I thought, yeah, I'm going to stick the Blu-rays in with these, because I like to have both formats on my editions, so I can sort of play them on any player I've got. But yeah, really nice. So £13, I figured I would go for that. Yeah, bargain. So from the same seller, I think a similar price. This one was £13, but this one had a bit of postage on there. There was a long story. Basically, the last one, it was another movie included, but they couldn't find the discs in the end, so they ended up refunding me the postage to sort of shave a bit off the order. This one, all the discs were included, and again, I was got to buying it to upgrade a couple of things really for the value. And I've got a few extra bits in there which I may not keep because I'm not that mad on them. But yeah, so this one was £13 as well, plus about £3 postage. So £16 all in all. So the kind of like ones I'm going to get rid of, I think, are just these ones, which I'm a big Nick Cage fan, but I just don't get on with these movies. I know everyone seems to love them, but yeah, National Treasure, I watched it, it was okay. It didn't do much for me. National Treasure 2, so again, not a massive fan. Now this movie, I've got the first movie of this one, but I haven't seen the second. Well, I haven't seen the first one, to be fair, yet. It's in my watch pile, but I haven't seen the second one. It does look like a bit of crazy kind of like sci-fi action drama. I think my pal Jason Brett sort of recommended the first one to me when we were shopping together years ago in HMV, and I picked it up then. And yeah, so this is the follow-on, I believe. Iron Sky, and this one is The Coming Race. So yeah, massive T-Rex on the front of there, explosions, one for the old garage cinema, I'm sure, in the summertime. That looks all good. So yeah, that was you know, that's just what happened to come with the bundle. The main sort of reason I picked up the bundle, again for, I think was it £13, was it had the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse on 4K, which again I do have, but it's a bit of a rough old CEX version with loads of sticker glue on it, where this one is again super mint. You can see the sheen on that one. Then the one I don't have, which is the follow-on to that one, which is Across the Spider-Verse, so again on 4K. So yeah, that one, no slip on this one, but you know, not too worried. It's brand new and sealed, you can probably see, still in the packet, so no one's ever watched it. I did catch it on streaming, I just hadn't picked it up yet. And then one I was happy to sort of like get in the bundle as well, which is an upgrade, because I had again the Blu-ray of this one with a slip, but I figured this is coming in here for the price it's coming in. I'm definitely going to pick it up for that, and that is the Fifth Element 4K. So I think CEX sold this for about £15 on its own. So to get all of those movies, like for, you know, £16 delivered basically, that was an absolute steal. So yeah, again, I can chop in my old Blu-ray, because this comes with the Blu-ray inside, so I'm going to chop my old Blu-ray in. I think CEX give you about £5 or so, or maybe £8, I don't know, something like that. So again, that takes that off the price, absolute steal. So yeah, they were my last minute kind of like bargains I end up buying, sort of unexpectedly. But up until that point, I'd only picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 movies, which I know sounds quite a lot, but to be fair, for me, it was quite good. So yeah, we'll whip through those now and just show you what I picked up. So the other thing that I did do really well on this month was actually watching the stuff. So I've either seen the stuff before, so I didn't necessarily need to watch straight away, or I picked it up because I really wanted to watch it. So most of the time I was putting these in a player the same day they dropped through the post. So yeah, I've managed to watch pretty much, or have seen everything, so I might not have watched it all this month. But yeah, either titles that I've seen before, or I've watched them this month. Everything but one title, I think, going forward from this block. So the one title I haven't seen yet, but I have picked up. I did try watching one night, but I put it on way too late in the evening, and I sort of wasn't paying attention, I was drifting off. So that is The Adventures of Buckaroo, I think it is. I don't know if there's anything else, might be underneath there. Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, I think it says under there. It's got a sticker over the front of it. But yeah, this one, again, you can see it was CEX, £10, had vouchers. So yep, before I picked it up, I've seen it pop up on a few channels, and you know, been quite recommended. Don't know a great deal about it, so I can't tell you much about it yet, because I don't know. This is one I thought I had in the collection, but it turns out I didn't. I was looking for it everywhere the other week, and I thought, because I fancied watching it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I don't think I would have had it and sold it without seeing it, but it's only a cheapy title. I can't remember where I picked it up now. Oh, I think it was on eBay, maybe. Probably on eBay for a couple of £2. And that is Ricky Gervais in The Invention of Lying. So I didn't mind this one. I'm quite a big fan of Ricky Gervais. I mean, I haven't seen his stand-up very much. I've seen the highlights and the clips on sort of YouTube and different things. But as far as his, like, I'm not a big TV guy either, but I did watch, what was the one he did, Afterlife? And I thought that was really good. As much as he kind of like, you know, he has this kind of comedic front, he does have a really sensitive bone in him as well, because yeah, that show does pull at the heartstrings, and he does a really good job of writing. So this was quite early on in his career, so you know, he maybe hadn't quite got either the full sort of talent he has now, or maybe he was just sort of being tied down by a few sort of like restrictions from different companies. I don't know. It just didn't, felt like it was stuck in second gear the whole time. You know, it kind of like, it took off, and I thought this could be okay, but then it kind of just kept hammering home the kind of main plot of this, which is like, no one can lie. And I was like, yeah, I got the point, but like an hour in, we're still hammering home the point that no one can lie. I don't know, it was okay. It was okay. It's enjoyable enough. I was hoping for a little bit more, but yeah, didn't quite make it. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So this one I picked up. Okay, so these were music. I want to say Music Magpie, I think it was, or World of Books, one or two. I want to say Music Magpie. So I basically picked up 3 movies. Why can't I find the third one? I've got 2. Bear with me. Not that one. 3 movies. So yeah, I picked up 3 movies that basically just dropped on Music Magpie's eBay page, and they didn't have any pictures. They didn't have any information about the discs, the regions, or anything. It literally just had the title and a kind of generic image coming soon kind of picture on the front. But I knew, well, I hoped I knew roughly, what these movies were based on title alone, and I took a bit of a punt. So these were all dropping on eBay for, I think, between £3 and £4, something like that. So really cheap to pick up. So I thought I'm just going to order three of them, because then it was they had some sort of deal. If you spent over £10, I think you got 10% off or something like that. So it made it kind of worthwhile picking up 3. If you were going to go 2, you might as well have got 3, because it's about the same, but you get an extra movie. But yeah, so picked up Kroll. So this is a movie that actually I think Bryn from Horror Hands did send me ages ago on Region A Locked, I want to say, is American. I hadn't got to watching it yet, because I've only got the one multi-region player. So it kind of restricts where I can watch the movie quite a bit. So this one just said, it literally said Kroll non-USA version. So I thought, for about £3, I'll pick up this one, because it should be a Region B, hopefully, if it wasn't on a Region A, US kind of release. So yeah, took a punt, ordered it. Sure enough, it is Region B. Really nice artwork on the front as well, actually. I stuck it on one Sunday night, and I thought, yeah, it was okay. I think the issue with this, I think I put on my letterbox, basically, was it felt a little bit slow for me. Like, it felt like we were watching this guy for the first sort of like 10 minutes, just literally climbing a big mountain in real time, from a distance in the same shot, and it just seemed to drag a little bit. I don't have any nostalgia for this, because I had never seen it before. So I do think maybe if you kind of grew up with this and you had the nostalgia with it as well, it would do a lot better. But the overall story was okay. It was entertaining enough. It was good to see a few familiar faces in there that were kind of like really fresh faced. Liam Neeson, I think, is in here, is a really fresh faced guy. There's another one in there I can't think of right now, but yeah, a couple of familiar faces pop up in there, and you think, oh god, that looks like a really young version of them. It was okay. I liked the practical effects in here. I liked the kind of like, it reminded me a little bit of like Masters of the Universe, where you've got kind of practical effects and you've also got some sort of like early, not necessarily CG, but like, when they do in-camera effects with like lightning and this blue and red lasers and stuff flying around. That was quite cool. I didn't mind it. I I think if I had nostalgia for it, I would have liked it a lot more. So the next one I picked up was one I actually had before, but this was kind of like I threw it in the basket basically just to kind of nudge, like I say, nudge the total price to just over the £10 to then take 10% off everything to make it a better deal. So I thought I'll pick it up again. I didn't mind it. Maybe I'll give it another try in the summer. And there's a movie called Hellfest. So I know this one did the rounds, I think maybe a year or two ago on YouTube, and everyone was sort of like singing its praises. It's not bad. It's pretty decent. I just wasn't sure if I was going to go back to it often enough to keep it in the collection when I sold it a while back. But yeah, I'm glad to pick it up again, especially for was it £3 or something like that. It wasn't dear. Yeah, not too bad. These group of teens go to this like Hellfest thing, so like a festival literally where they just kind of be like a scare, when they go over and you just kind of walk around this place and all these people are dressed up ready to scare you. And then, one by one, they start disappearing, and you're not sure what's going on. And there's people like looking for each other, and they're potentially being killed off, in different places around this kind of big horror festival type thing that everyone goes to. It was a decent watch. Again, another one I'll throw on probably in the summer on the old projector in the garage when it's nice and hot, and just lose my mind for an hour and a half. Now, this was the main one that I was kind of like caught my interest. So I think this one, I'm sure it was Andy over at Forgotten World of Movies. I'm pretty sure he was watching this one with maybe Nigel and gang last year or year before now, and they were saying it was really good for what it was. And I think this has kind of slightly two different names. This one was called, on the disc here, it's called Halloween Haunt, but I think it's known mainly just as Haunt, because I think that's what comes up on the screen when you actually watch it. I really enjoyed this one. I thought this was pretty good. So again, similar to the one before it, really. This it's like an escape room type thing. So these group of young teens obviously go they go out for a good night, and then they end up kind of like deciding they don't want to call it a night just yet. They go to this kind of like place they see fairly nearby, which is a bit of a scares kind of thing, where people are dressed up trying to scare you, and like chainsaws and masks and stuff jumping out of like spooky places when you go through this like environment. But they got to kind of like go and work out how to get out of this certain place every now and again, so as they go through, like almost like a maze. But again, you kind of like, you're waiting for these kills to come, because they come in. Then sometimes you think actually maybe not all of them are trying to kill the kids off in there. Maybe it's only like one or two, and maybe there are some genuine people in there working. But but I won't spoil anything. You know, if that sounds like it sort of tempts you, then feel free to check that one out. I'm pretty sure it's you know, readily available. I'm pretty sure at the time it went up to over £10 or more, because I don't know if it went out of print or what. But yeah, it was hard to get when I started looking at it a while back, when I know Andy was talking about it. So again, to get it for like £3 or less, it was like an absolute steal. Got something to do with the people who did Quiet Place, I think, by the looks at the top of it. So, you know, yeah, I enjoyed that one. I thought that was a pretty good time. So let's go back. So the next one, I did a few CEX pickups. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it was. Dropping them everywhere. Yeah, I think I got 4 from CEX. Yeah, I think it's 4 from CEX. I feel like I'm missing one. Anyway, got 4. So this one I picked up purely based on the director, because I really like the director. I'll be honest, I wasn't sold on the actual plot and the premise on this one. I was taking a pure punt on the fact that it's got a lot of 5-star reviews all over the cover. I know it's not necessarily one to go by. And the fact that it's like one of my favourite directors. And that is The Phantom Thread. So yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson movies, so Magnolia, I think Hard 8 I picked up a little while back, which I really enjoyed. Many others, you know, if you look on IMDb, I'm sure you would have looked through and see how many films he's done that you think, they're classics. Really enjoy those. So yeah, I took a punt for £4. I'll be honest, I was bored out of my mind. I didn't enjoy this whatsoever. Like, it was really well directed, really well acted, really well lit. Just the story didn't do anything for me. It was about a dressmaker, which I knew going in. And I know a lot of people have put this quite high on their not on their IMDb, on their letterbox. I had to look after I rated it on mine, but you know, each to their own. I can never see myself going back to this one. I was struggling to pay attention to it. You know, kept checking my phone, thinking, I'd rather be doing something else, to be honest. So yeah, you know, solid in terms of the actual filmmaking skill. Just for me personally, didn't do anything for my tastes. So you know, that's my problem, not the film's problem. So yeah, you know, it might be for you, wasn't for me. Next one I picked up is one that seems to kind of this one wasn't CEX. I was trying to get it on CEX, but it's sold out, so I ended up picking it up off of eBay. I think Music Magpie again, maybe, which was slightly cheaper than CEX anyway. So CEX at the time of when I wanted to buy this one was about £12, £15, something like that to buy, and it came up on Music Magpie. I think it was on eBay for about £10. So I thought I'll pull the trigger and order it. I'd seen it around a couple of times and I've been intrigued. And that is the Trilogy of Terror 2. So it is a free, it's an anthology movie, a free kind of like horror, not quite shorts, but they're about half an hour long, obviously. About an hour and a half long in total. So you got three sort of mini stories in there. And I think it's a TV movie, or it was based on a TV movie, because there was obviously the first one of these, I want to say back in the 70s. This I think is in the 80s or 90s, can't think now. Yeah, again, it was okay. I picked it up quite early in the month, so I watched it quite a while back now. But the practical effects in the first one, I think in the last one, there was some good practical effects. I remember the first one had good practical effects in this, like these kind of big rats that were kind of in a grave somewhere. So yeah, I won't spoil any of the stories in here if you want to check it out. It was okay. I'm not huge on anthology movies. I don't mind them. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to keep hold of this one. It was okay. I just don't see that much rewatching it for me. So, you know, I'll have a ponder, and I might end up tripping that back into CEX or selling it on. So another one I picked up, it was purely blind buy, and I was literally just going through this was CEX, this one. So this one I went through CEX, like a store I was going to visit, and just looked on the titles they had in stock. And this one sort of come up, and the cover caught my eye because it had a massive whale underneath a boat in the middle of the sea. And I thought, I do like anything to do with the sea, especially if it's got like sharks and whales and that sort of stuff in it. And I'd never heard of it before. I didn't know anything about it. So I did a bit of research, went on IMDb, checked it out. Had pretty good reviews for what it was. Looked really good from the pictures and the trailer that I watched. So I'm kind of butcher the name, I reckon, but I think it's Kon-Tiki, something like that. So yeah, basically, if you can see that cover there, pretty interesting story. Again, it was really early in the month I watched this one, so my memory's already starting to fade on it. But the general outline was this, I think, this explorer. This is going back, you know, in, I want to say the 40s, I think it was. I think it was in the 40s. This like explorer decides that he wants to prove that a certain group of people could have gone from one place, like one continent to another, I think, on just like a very basic raft. So literally just logs tied together across this massive sea or ocean. And he decides he wants to test the theory by like recreating purely with how they would have done it, with actual logs and ropes and stuff. And he convinces these people that they should go with him, gets funding and stuff to do it. And he literally goes off into the sea on this really bare bones raft with a sail on it. And yeah, these group of men basically go off exploring just to try and prove that you could do it in theory. No, not really anyone believes him. They think he's a bit mad, and they're saying like there's no way this kind of like basic raft would get that far. And he's basically saying, you know, I bet I can prove you wrong. But yeah, not a bad tale, you know, if you like that kind of like Life of Pi style thing where you're following someone on the water for quite a while. Quite a lot of, there's like a shark attack thing in this as well, which looked pretty good. There was you know, lots of whales and stuff all about underneath it and around it. Yeah, not a bad watch at all. Again, don't know how much rewatch it's got in it for me. I didn't mind it. Fairly good tale, but I think it's got two versions on here. So I think it's I don't know if it's a Norwegian movie originally. Like it's not in. There's an English version. So I think when they shot this, they shot an entire version of this movie with the cast speaking English to sell to like a broader audience. But the original language, I think, was also shot alongside it at the same time. So they'd obviously do a take with the original language, and not in English, and then they would do a take with like the English language. So they kind of shot the movie twice, side by side. I watched the English version just because I thought it would kind of like keep my attention on the screen a bit more rather than reading the subtitles. And because it's not dubbed, it didn't seem to take away from the movie either. So I enjoyed it for that. But yeah, could be one that's interesting out there to anyone who likes these kind of like sea time adventures set in the past. Yeah, would probably recommend people checking this one out. So if you've been following the channel for a little while, you would have seen I picked up, I think a month or two ago, like the Star Trek movie collection box set. Brand new into Star Trek. I don't know much about it. I'm slowly making my way through those movies. And I did say, I think at the time, that I've kind of basic research said that there was a few different cuts of, I think the first movie and the second movie, and potentially like the sixth movie. So I bought the director's cut of the second movie last month, and I was in CEX and saw that there was the director's version of the first movie. So again, £6, had vouchers, and it had a really nice slip on it, looked in mint condition. So although I've already watched the first Star Trek movie, I thought for £6 in this condition, I'm going to pick this one up, because if and when I want to go back to it, I want to see what the differences are between this version and the theatrical version that I watched a few weeks back. So yeah, again, most people would know a lot more about Star Trek than I do, so I won't bore you with my basic knowledge of Star Trek. Going back now, what else did I pick up? So this one, short story on this one. Basically, I tried to pre-order this one on Amazon when I heard it got launched, or went up for pre-order, because it is a favourite of mine from way back. I haven't seen it in years, but I remember watching it as a sort of teen and really enjoying it. And then Amazon did this really annoying thing that I'm sure a lot of you have had, where I pre-ordered it, paid for it, and then come to the date where it was going, being released on a Monday, didn't hear anything, got to like the Wednesday or Thursday, and then they emailed me and said, oh, sorry, we've cancelled your order because we don't have enough stock, or we've sold out. And I thought, so you could have literally had it. I could have just bought it on the Monday, like there was stuff there on the Monday to buy, so it was really annoying. Anyway, I think it's back in stock on Amazon now. However, to sort of like boycott Amazon, I went through Rarewaves. So I think Rarewaves had a copy of this movie, and they had some sort of, again, 10% off everything on the site or something like that. So I picked up two movies from Rarewaves. I picked up the one I'm about to show, which is the 4K Arrow edition of Usual Suspects. So yeah, really enjoyed this movie. Sort of like a mystery crime thriller. It's got, pretty good cast, obviously the controversial potentially. Kevin Spacey in there, but yeah, really enjoyed this one. Again, I've watched it back in the day. I've got the nostalgia for it. I have watched the 4K. 4K looks pretty decent. To be fair, I'd say I only would have known it's a 4K on 2 or 3 scenes in this movie that it really shines in the 4K. The rest of it, I could have easily mistaken for a Blu-ray. So if they've got the Blu-ray version still, and you're not too sure about it, I'd probably say stick with the Blu-ray if you're not that mad on 4K. But you know, picked it up. Like I say, it was probably under 20 quid once I picked it up because it had 10% off. So it was cheaper than I was going to buy on Amazon new anyway. So yeah, comes with a slip, comes with all the goodies inside. I know it looks sealed, but I did pop open the top and stick it in the player. So yeah, you got your reversed artwork and such. So yeah, enjoyed that one. Then this one, so this one I bought purely based on really enjoying the first movie of this, and I didn't know anything about it. I'm sure this was on Rare Waves as well, because you can't get a UK version as far as I know, and that is a movie called Return to the Blue Lagoon. So yeah, I really liked the Blue Lagoon. I checked that out I think a couple of years back, and I just really loved it. I thought it was really good. If you're not familiar with Blue Lagoon, obviously the original story is basically set in a long time ago. On this ship, the ship ends up going down in the middle of the sea, and the cook and two young kids basically get on a rowboat as the ship's going down and just kind of like paddle to somewhere, basically like row to somewhere as best they can to find land. They end up finding this desert island, and they stay there for years and years. These kids end up growing up on there together. I won't spoil it any more than that, but that's the setup of the movie. So when and I really enjoyed that. So when I saw this was a return to Blue Lagoon, I think, I don't know if it was like late 80s, mid 90s, something like that, somewhere around there. I thought, you know, I really like the first one so much, I want to check out the sequel. I have to say I was really disappointed in this one as well. Like, this one was like it was basically just a remake. It wasn't a follow-on or any really. They tried to sell it that the kids were, you know, linked to the first movie. Again, I won't spoil it too much. But other than that, it was pretty much the same premise. Yeah, a bit of a letdown. Didn't have any of the heart, didn't have any of the charm of the first one, I thought, personally. So yeah, wasn't mad on it. Kind of disappointed that I picked this one up in the end, to be fair. So I'll probably pass that one on at some point. So yeah, that was that one. So we've got 4 more left, and really glad to say pretty much all of these were absolute gems. So basically I picked up where did this come from? This is probably Rare Waves as well, judging by the cover. So with a separate Rare Waves order, I picked up a Corey Haim and Corey Feldman movie, and it's listed as Daddy's Cadillac on here, but I know it as License to Drive, I want to say. So 2 names on it, but yeah, basically this one, I watched it on streaming like a few weeks back, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought I'm going to pick up the physical of that one. Has a really young Heather Graham in it when she's a young girl, so I think she's in the centre there. So yeah, I didn't realise she was in that when I started watching it. Yeah, one of these 80s kind of movies that just has instant charm about it if you like your 80s movies. This kid's basically trying to impress the girl, saying he can drive this car and like take her where she wants to go, give her a lift and stuff. And it turns out he hasn't actually got his license. I won't spoil any more than that, but you know, if it sounds any remotely interesting, look it up, check it out for yourselves. But if you like 80s movies, you like a bit of charm around them, definitely check this one out. Now this one next was one I found on, what was this one? This was on eBay. I want to say probably Music Magpie again, or Word of Books, can't remember which one. Now I tagged this movie with like a, you know, you can favorite stuff on eBay. So I favorited this one when it came on there, and it came on eBay at basically full retail price, but used. So it came on at about £15, buy it now. I favorited it because sometimes if you favorite stuff on eBay and they drop the price, it sends you an alert. And that is exactly what happened with this one. So my phone pinged and it said, I misread it. I thought that they'd taken the price down from £15. I thought they'd taken £4 something off the price, so it'd be about £10. And I thought, maybe I'll pull the trigger on that. But it turned out when I checked it, the notification, it was basically saying they'd taken £10 off of this, and it'd gone down to like £4 and a few pennies for a quite new release, and that is Thelma. So yeah, I pulled the trigger instantly on that one. So I figured that, you know, £4 and a few pennies for a pretty new release that I'd heard really good things about, I'd definitely pull the trigger. So yeah, I had a really good time with this one. It's essentially, if you don't know, again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I want to set up roughly what goes on. You can kind of guess for some extent of it, I suppose. So this, you know, elderly lady, I think she's 93. I think the actress might actually be 93 in real life. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like that's what they said in some of the features I watched. She basically gets scammed out of $10,000. You know, this is a mild spoiler because it happens at the first sort of 10-15 minutes of the movie. And she decides that she's not having it. She's going to go, you know, get her money back. So Now that is the basic premise. What this is essentially, her and her grandson are watching a Mission Impossible movie, and you know, they're enjoying it. And what sparks it off is on the newspaper, after she's sort of like had this $10,000 taken from her by a scam, she reads some sort of headline about Tom Cruise basically, you know, never giving up and always like doing what he needs to do, which sort of like to trigger something in her and inspires her to go after these guys that have taken her money. So yeah, she goes over him, and the whole thing is shot like a Mission Impossible movie, but if you were 93. So so the high tech stuff that they use in a Mission Impossible movie basically is like converted over to like what the older people are using in this movie, such as they have like panic buttons. If they get in trouble, they can push. So that's part of their tech that they're using to you know, foil the bad guys or sometimes the good guys. They have scooters instead of cars, obviously. They have hearing aids that they kind of like Bluetooth together to be able to like give each other, you know, audio description of what's going on ahead of them and stuff like that, so they can communicate with each other like walkie-talkies. Really, really good job. This had me laughing out loud several times. There was a scene. All I'll say is, if you've seen it, there was a scene where they're trying to retrieve a gun from a friend's house, and yeah, when something happens in that house, and you know, the gun sort of goes off, I was laughing my head off just in how it was played out. It was hilarious. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Highly recommend that one to anyone who sounds, you know, remotely interested in it. It's really, you know, shot really well. It's a really good film, really good heart to it. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that one. So the next one I had a really good time with was, I don't want to say a blind buy necessarily, but I can't remember how I came across this one now. I feel like I'd seen it on a list somewhere of like maybe underrated movies. Anyway, I started looking into it, read the premise, read the cast, and I really do like William H. Macy. So yeah, he was in it, and I thought, you know what, it sounds interesting. I'm going to pick this one up. Then I realised that I mean, it shows us about £2.50 on CEX, but they had absolutely no stock, so I was going to order it off there. But yeah, they were all out of stock at the time. I don't know if they are now. They might have got it back in. So I started looking around. Amazon, I think, wanted, I don't know, £15-20 for it. So I think it may be out of print. But I did find a copy on Vinted for, I think, £1 or £2. I don't know, like including delivery. I think it cost me less than a fiver. So £3 or £4 all in. And that is a movie called The Sessions. So yeah, I had a really good time with this. I just watched this again quite early on in the month because it's one of the first things I bought this month. So I wasn't familiar with you know, the storyline on this one. I feel like I've seen the cover around a few times. I just never give it a second glance. But this one basically follows a guy who has polio. So he caught obviously polio when he was quite a young boy. And this is all based on a true story to some extent. So I do like a movie, you know, based on a true story. So yeah, this guy at the front here, he's caught polio as a young boy. He's now in an iron lung. So if you're not familiar with that is, it's literally just like a metal chamber that essentially the whole body is kept inside, and the head has to come out the front. And the movie does a good job of explaining, you know, how that all works, because I was, you know, very naive to how that all works. I didn't understand it myself. But yeah, it does a really good job. And what The Sessions is referring to is this guy's basically, I think he's 38, I want to say. He's like in his mid to late 30s. And he's basically saying that he's never had, because of his condition, he's always been in this like chamber. He can come out the chamber like for, I think, 3 to 4 hours at a time quite safely. But he pretty much has to spend most of his time just in this chamber, in this iron lung. And he has carers come in obviously and wash him and stuff. And he's basically saying, he's being very open and honest and saying, you know, he's never had any sort of sexual experience, because he's just always been not quite paralyzed, but very close to paralyzed, like he can't move. And it starts to like worry him that he's gonna like become, you know, he's gonna die without ever, you know, knowing anything to do with that side of life. So he starts to confide in this new priest. So William H. Macy plays a priest. So he starts asking his priest about, you know, what does he think he should do? And his priest obviously tells him, you know, well, within marriage, it should be good. And he kind of like, you know, he starts to say, you know, he offer some marriage proposals out, just to see if he can get lucky with anything there. But he sadly doesn't really get picked up. And he's really struggling, and he's sort of like, it's almost like he's literally doing his confession to his priest, saying like how this is affecting his mind and his, you know, his body and everything. and trying to get advice. And the priest is in a bit of a tricky spot because obviously he doesn't want to promote necessarily what he's after, but equally he can see that it's a massive thing for him. So he recommends going to a therapist. There's therapists that literally deal in that kind of era or that type of thing. So he goes to this therapist, and she recommends that there is basically people who can deal with people that are severely disabled, that are, potentially needing or wanting to explore a more sexual side to themselves, and which is where this lady comes in here. So that's the sessions. So he starts booking sessions with this lady, and they're just sort of like exploring each other essentially. It sounds odd to some extent. I know, Jodie, if you're listening and you're watching this, don't watch this with your dad like you did whatever it was a few weeks back. I remember you saying on your video, it's definitely one maybe don't watch with your mum or dad. It does go there, it does show you stuff, but it is a really good heartfelt movie. This guy is hilarious. Like, he's got such a good witty humour. And like I say, it's all based on a true story. To some extent, he's based on a book or a sort of poem or something that this guy read. No, book, sorry, not poem. He does write poems. But yeah, highly recommend that one if you can find a copy. If you like those kind of like feel-good movies with a real good sort of like true story to them attached as well. Yeah, really, really good. Enjoyed that lot. And then this one, this is a bootleg. So I picked up a bootleg. Now, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, but most people know in the community, if you have a movie that you just cannot get on physical media, and it's one of your favorites, I'm sure Bumper over at Bumper's Movies, I'll link him down in the description. He can probably help you out, let's say. So go visit his channel, message him, get in touch. Now, I had a movie which is basically I've grown up with. And this movie is like, it's like an old friend. I've watched this through my teen years multiple times, really enjoyed it. It's one of those ones that no one ever talks about, or never heard anyone else mention. And I've watched it so many times, I just know it inside out. And I've only obviously had the DVD. Now, I think this movie does have a Blu-ray release in Japan, and I was umming and ahhing about buying it from Japan. There was basically a good few reasons why I decided not to. So I decided, one, it was about £30 plus import fees potentially and tax. I don't know how that works. It was really sketchy. It didn't really allude to anything. It just said, check your country. It might not. So I thought it's going to cost an absolute fortune to get it here. And if it does get here, I think it's Region A locked potentially, which again is not a massive issue because I can play Region A. However, I do prefer B because it gives me the full, spectrum of players in my house/garage to use to play them. And again, being Japanese, I wasn't sure if they were going to have the subtitles burnt into the image so you couldn't turn them off. And I thought that would really bug me, especially for a movie that I know really well. So, long and short of it, I got in touch with Bumper, asked him if he could get a copy that, wouldn't do all those things. And sure enough, he got me cashback. So, yeah, if you haven't heard of this movie, which a lot of people probably haven't, really good film, British film. It's about this guy. It's an indie movie basically, so it's quite low budget. Having said that, they do use their budget, very wisely on what they do with the movie. It's about time as well, so it's about pausing time. It's so it does sort of tread into a bit of a sci-fi element, but nothing like massively. There's just like a hint sci-fi to get some storytelling done. Which I really appreciate. The movie starts with this young guy who's basically in his late teens, early 20s, and he's going through a breakup with this girlfriend of his. And quite quickly he realizes, afterwards that maybe it was a mistake. He's basically going through the breakup, and he's decided that he can't sleep. He gets insomnia. So he's thinking about this breakup and his girlfriend and his ex and stuff like that. And he gets insomnia. He's just not sleeping. So he decides after a while what he can do is just get a night job somewhere. So he gets a night job in Sainsbury's. So yeah, it sounds a bit odd. Sounds, nothing to it. But the way this movie's shot and the way they transition from one scene to another is amazing. Such skill as a director, this guy. So yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. He gets a job in a night job in Sainsbury's. Basically, he meets all these kind of kooky characters in Sainsbury's. All these like lads that are just like mucking about all the time. And he basically decides, or he kind of like, tells us as he's going through the story, that he goes through how people basically try and waste an 8-hour shift at work. Some people just like don't look at the clock all the time, so therefore the time feels like it's going faster. Some people just muck about all the time and like play pranks on each other and the time goes faster. He decides that he's going to do the opposite. He's going to try and slow down time as much as he can, to the point where the movie shows he's walking around this supermarket with everyone sort of shopping in there, and they're completely motionless, and he's just going around the supermarket, basically narrating what he's thinking and feeling, and going through stuff. And then he meets this girl who works there, and he starts having a relationship with this girl, and this girl kind of like, you know, starts to like him. And then, you know, I'm not going to go too much deeper into it because I don't want to spoil anything else, but trust me, it's really good. Obviously this is a bootleg, so if you want one of these you'd have to go through Bumper, but if you pick up the DVD, you know, you'll get the pretty similar experience. I would say I noticed stuff in this movie on the HD format that I hadn't seen on the Blu-ray, on the DVD, and I've watched that DVD countless times. So yeah, there was details in here that came out on HD resolution, and the colours just seemed a lot better on this one than the DVD. DVD's not bad, don't get me wrong, but yeah, really glad I picked this one up. So a massive thank you to Bumper for sorting that out as well for me. But yeah, it does a real good job on these. You've got like artwork all over the place, including on the disc inside. So, you know, if it sounds interesting, check out the movie. If you want the HD copy, go see Bumper. And that is it. That is my haul for March 2025. So yeah, waffled on quite a lot there, but you know, I thought I might as well do a bit of a kind of what I've been watching mixed in with the pickups, as I've been trying to do lately since I've watched so many. So hope you've enjoyed. You know, check out Bumper's channel, check out you know, Tim Cole and obviously Andy at Forgotten World of Movies. I'm sure you know all those guys. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.